Hey, there we go. All right. Hey, guys, it's Glacier Ray Lloyd. Welcome to Tuesday, December 29th, our live edition of Breaking the Ice with Glacier and my great friend and co-host, Avi Klein, who will be joining us from the back room here in just a minute. Hope everybody had an awesome holiday. It was for me. I got to spend it with the lovely Veronica down in Orlando, and back in Atlanta right now. Got back in time last night to do some training at the Nightmare Factory with all trainees a lot of dedicated trainees that came in last night, during the holiday week when a lot of people, are busy doing a lot of other stuff. A lot of guys and girls make commitments to come in and train, which is really cool. JC, what's up, man? Happy holidays to you too, brother. Merry Christmas. So yeah, and I know we got a lot to cover today. This is our end of the year show, man. We've got so much stuff. Me and Avi were talking yesterday, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about the Patreon thing we got coming around after the first of the year. We've got so much great stuff that's going to be coming down the pike. It's from all the guys on the roster here, and it all really comes back to Avi, who is the Wizard of Oz of this whole thing. Like I said, who really is the captain that steers this ship. Eric, what's up, buddy? So we're going to jump right in because this hour and a half always seems to go really fast. So anyway, I'm just so glad you guys are here. Pam, good to see you, Pam. Thanks for jumping on here. Hope you had a great holiday. I'm just going to throw what I usually do. I'm going to throw my little quote out that I like to throw out to kind of start things off on a little bit of a high energy, positive note. Clyde, what's up, buddy? And then, I'll recap it a little bit later at the end. But this is one that I put on my Facebook a little while ago. I post this about every 6 months because I think it's a really cool quote. And it reminds me of my buddy Diamond Dallas Page, who we're going to talk a little bit about today, and some big project that he's got going on. And the quote is that the people at the top of the mountain didn't just fall there. And if you think about that, people always, you look at the people who they say the cream rises to the top, the people who get to the top of the mountain, who succeed in whatever it is they're doing. Another favorite quote of mine is success is never accidental. You don't accidentally fall into success. You just don't. I mean, you have to work hard. You got to put a game plan together. And I'll recap this a little bit later, but I'll break it down into like three main words, which is just dream, vision, and action. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But think about that. People at the top of the mountain, they didn't just fall there. They had there's a game plan that they put together to get to where they are, whatever they're successful at, whatever it is. And so I'll talk a little bit more and bring it back when we finish up at the end. Hector, what's up, buddy? Danny, thank you, man. Thank you guys. You guys are jumping on real quick, which I really, really appreciate. And so I was telling Avi, too, before we all jump on here, guys, that it looks like I kind of have been out in the sun a little bit because I got a little bit this like red flush. It's like nice and flush. I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't seem to be anything serious, but I went and saw my doctor a few days ago, and he basically just said, hey, because I was on some medication for some other minor stuff, and I'm off of that as of today. So hopefully this will kind of settle in. So I'm not red beat angry at anybody. I hadn't been out in the sun too much. It's just one of those things that, for whatever reason, it's got to settle in. I hope over the next day or two. But man, what a crazy week since we talked last. Obviously, if you tuned in last week, we talked about the fact that we lost Kevin Green, who was someone I was so fortunate to get to know, and during the time in WCW, and I had a small part in training him along with Candy and some of the other people at the power plant, and gotten to know him as a friend. Was very proud of the fact that I got to introduce him to Brian Urlacher when Brian was a rookie coming into the league, which that was a really cool thing for me. Here you got one of the greatest to play the game kind of coming out of his career, and another one who was going to would be going to be one of the greatest of his generation, really, kind of crossing paths, which is pretty cool. But anyway, we got a great show. We got a lot to cover. There's a couple anniversaries I'm going to tell you guys about that you only hear about here that are very near and dear and close and personal to my heart. And if you have if you're a fan of Glacier at all, which I feel like most of you are, you'll probably get some really. You'll think these are pretty cool nostalgic events that are anniversaries that have happened in this last week. But yeah, I know Avi typically has some pictures he wants to throw up. Just to kind of these are from my archives, if you want to call. So this is one. This picture here always reminds me of once again, do what you love, and what you love will reward you. Football was my life up until I got into pro wrestling. I mean, football allowed me to get a college education. And this was one of my first years playing college. I'm not playing college. I would have been really good if I was playing college at that age. But but I was actually I have a twin brother, as most of you know, and we played on every team together up until
Ray. I hate to interrupt you, Ray.
Started off at Valdosta State together. So, but
Ray, I don't know if Ray could hear me, guys and gals. I hate to interrupt anyone. Michael Barr, keep your negative comments off these broadcasts. You understand me? Keep your negative comments off these broadcasts. I never do this, so I'm doing it right now. Keep your negative comments off of these broadcasts and stop harassing all the people that are in Messenger. And you know what I'm talking about. I hate doing this live, Michael Barr. Keep your damn comments and your negative comments to yourself.
Michael, come on, man. You know. Hey, am I still muted?
No, you're not, my friend.
Hey, I'm not sure if I'm still muted or not. But, hey, guys, I'm not sure what happened there. So, but that picture was one of my favorite pictures of when my brother and I played football when we were real young in Brunswick, Georgia, at the recreation center there. And once again, we were so fortunate. My dad was our coach, which was really cool. But also there was, some the people that ran the recreation center were all like father figures to all the kids there. Just some people that as I grew older, I still grow to respect and admire even more because they really took all the kids in and really just made them feel like they had a home and a place to belong. And I think that's important for any kid to be able to have a place like that. And we grew up at the boys club and stuff as well. But anyway, this is, of course, I was a little older here. This was me playing at Valdosta State University. At the time, it was still Valdosta State College. Eventually, would go on to be a part of the University of Georgia system. And I was really proud that in my final year, I was there in the first year, 1982, of the football program. In my final year, I redshirted my first year due to an injury. My fifth year, we had an amazing season, went 9-2, and that really, I think, started the wheels turning as to the winning tradition that Valdosta State has now, which has won several national championships. And I'm just very, very proud to say I was a charter member of that program. And I love going back. My schedule doesn't allow me to go back that much anymore, not near as much as I would love to. But football was something that was near and dear to my heart. And it allowed, like I said, it allowed me to get a scholarship and get a college education, still playing and doing something I love. So I go back to one of my favorite quotes: "Do what you love, and what you love will reward you." And that's kind of what happened with football. And then this thing called pro wrestling fell in my lap right about the time I graduated college, and we all kind of know how that kind of went and how that worked out. So, but anyway, here's another picture with my good buddy John Waterhouse. We actually did there was a Macon, Georgia Film Festival a few years back, and I'm along with my buddy Luther Biggs, and of course John, who's an amazing writer, who actually wrote the original draft for The Replaceables, our film. We went to and John was doing it as he's a professional reporter. So we actually went and were able to do a story he was on Burt Reynolds. We were able to go behind the scenes and sit down with Mr. Reynolds in the back there and just and I'd been fortunate to be around him many times before this. But a lot of Burt Reynolds. There's a lot of inspiration, of Burt Reynolds' inspiration in our film, The Replaceables, just from some of his famous scenes from some of his movies. We really tried to do a couple little tips of the hat to things like that. The big fight scene in our movie, which is at this big outdoor festival, which is good old friendly old fight, good old John Wayne type, Burt Reynolds type fight, was really inspired by the big fight scene in the movie Hooper, which is about Hollywood stuntmen. So you can see that on YouTube if you want. Great fight scene, and it was just a good old fun fight scene. Terry Bradshaw was in that, and and it's just he was a huge inspiration to us personally and professionally. And in our film, we really did a lot to try to pay homage to Burt Reynolds and John Wayne and Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner, all those guys, Lee Marvin, all those guys of the classic tough guy era of filmmaking. So yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that John's finding these pictures. Man, this is this is one of those pictures that is such a great picture. I mean, you look at it here. You got, of course, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Andre the Giant, and Chief Wahoo McDaniel, who just three of the most, in my opinion, and I think in most opinion, three of the most amazing icons in our business. A lot of people that are younger may not remember Chief Wahoo McDaniel, but as far as the NWA years go, when I was growing up, he was just one of the toughest guys to ever be in the wrestling ring. He's one of the very few guys, a handful of guys that actually played pro football and then got into professional wrestling and excelled in both, obviously. And if you're younger and you haven't watched a lot of Chief Wahoo McDaniel, just YouTube Chief Wahoo McDaniel and watch some of his matches. One of the toughest guys to ever lace up a pair of boots. And I was so fortunate to get to know him at the end of his career when I was first starting. Andre, I never actually ever met Andre, which is one of the few really, people in the business I never got to meet. A lot of friends of mine, of course, Tonga Fafita, King Haku was tag team partners with Andre. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the only title that Andre the Giant ever held was the World Tag Team titles, WWF, with Haku, when they were managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. And of course, everyone that's been listening knows my admiration for Dusty, and that he was one of my childhood heroes. And I got a chance to really get close to Dusty and become great friends with him and the whole family, and which was just a dream come true. They say that old adage about never meet your heroes. Well, I got a chance to meet my hero, and I got a chance to be really good friends with him. And I can tell you it was just an amazing, amazing experience. And like everyone else, I so miss him. He was just such a genuinely good person, and one of the most iconic names in our business, obviously. This is a picture from a show I did in Orlando a few years back, and some of my friends were all there with me. I think Luther and I actually maybe tag team in this match together. And my friends Byron and Lindsay were there. My friend Janice. There was all good. My local crew from Orlando went to watch it. I met this young man after the show, and anyone that also has followed me knows that I have a very tender place in my heart for people with challenges. And when I taught school, I did a lot to work with students with challenges, physical and mental challenges. And this little kid was just such a big fan of just the whole show. And I went up and asked him if I could get a picture with him. And fortunately he obliged. Lewis, what's up, buddy? And it's become one of my favorite pictures. It really is. It's just a really cool picture. Reminds me of what I still get out of doing this. This is my passion. It's always been, for over 30 years now. I'm going into, April will be 34 years I've been in the industry, and I've been active all 34 years. I've never taken, time away from wrestling. I've always tried to be a good ambassador for this business, and I'll continue to do that as long as the business will still have me, which I hopefully it will. But here's a great. This was and you guys all know. Ernest Miller is still one of my great friends. I absolutely love every time I'm with Ernest because we laugh so much, especially me, him, and Luther when we get together. So you can imagine when we made this movie, we worked hard, but we laughed an awful lot. And this was from WrestleCade 2 years ago, I think, up in North Carolina, Winston-Salem, where they do it's always done on Thanksgiving weekend. And we were there. Psychosis was there. If I asked Ernest if he had seen him before, I think this was the first time Ernest and I had a chance to really cross paths with Psychosis since our WCW run, which had been like about 20 years. So it was really cool to see him. That's what I love about these conventions, and I'm so ready to get back to doing conventions because it's reunions for us. We get to see a lot of the people that we worked with and we traveled with and really, that you have that camaraderie with. And then, everybody goes back home, when you're off the road, and then all of a sudden years pass and you haven't seen each other. So I'm really looking forward to conventions, get back to conventions because of the wrestling fans, but also to see some of my wrestling colleagues and buddies. This is a great picture here from one of my good friends. Sean just sent me a copy of this. He was watching it, and this is from the first season, the season finale of the hit TV show Burn Notice that was on USA Network. I think it ran for 8 or 9 seasons, and co-starred Bruce Campbell, who I'm a huge fan of. And in this scene, I played kind of the heavy for this for this bad guy, and we've kidnapped Bruce Campbell, and I'm kind of just beating the truth out of him. At least I'm trying to, and he's kind of playing the game back and forth with me. It was just a huge thrill and honor to spend a week working with Bruce Campbell, and everybody on that that TV show was awesome. Through that, I got to meet Artie Maleshi, who is one of, in my opinion, and a lot of other people, is one of the best stunt coordinators in the business, and just build a friendship there. And through my buddy Jeff Moldalvin, who's passed now, but who was an old school stunt guy. So once again, I go back to do what you love, and what you love will reward you, and opens up a lot of doors for you. And being on Burn Notice as a stunt actor, it was a role that required being an actor, but also doing some stunts. Being skilled in both those areas, allowed me to be the guy who landed that role, which was just a ton of fun to work on. So, but anyway, Avi, I'm not sure if we got any more pictures.